So a few days ago, a PhD student asked me a simple question. Is there really a place for AI in academic writing or manuscript submission? And if yes, what is the best way to use it in a real workflow? So this video is for her and for any graduate student or early researcher who feels overwhelmed by the number of AI tools out there and is not sure where to begin. Today, I'm going to show you a practical AI-assisted workflow that helps you move from a rough draft to a polished, submission-ready academic paper. This can be a journal manuscript, a thesis chapter, or an end-of-term paper, and it must be clear, well-structured, and properly referenced. So before we begin, the goal of AI in academic writing is not to replace thinking. It is not also to generate fake science. It is to refine clarity, precision, and presentation. So the tool I'll be using for this workflow is Paperpal. So Paperpal is one of the academic tools which is built specifically for academic writing, and I'll walk you through how to use it in a responsible way. So let's walk through this simple example with, say, a paper that you're working on. Let's say you're working on COVID-19 vaccine effectiveness. This workflow applies to any academic paper that you would be writing. So before we go through the series of steps you would have to go through, this is how the Paperpal interface looks like. So I'll log in and then we can begin the process or the workflow that I use. So once you log into Paperpal, you'll see a number of features. On the top panel, you see grammar, rewrite, write, research, plagiarism. We'll test each of these as we go along. You also have chat PDF, new web document. You can even connect your Word, you can connect Paperpal to your Word document. You can also be added as a Google add-in. There are a number of other features, especially if you're preparing for your manuscript. You can use it to check for plagiarism, AI detector, submission check. We'll check a couple of these areas, but then the first thing I want us to look at is during your workflow. Step one is probably to make sure that your research question is specific and academically defensible. At the minimum, you should clearly state the population, the exposure or the mean variable, the outcome, and the context or time period. If any of those are missing, your paper becomes hard to structure and your argument becomes easy to poke holes in. You can also use one of the features in Paperpal to help you brainstorm on how to identify potential research gaps or angles you may want to or you may have not considered. So I'm going to walk you through how to use the brainstorming feature in Paperpal to kind of refine your research question. So as I said, you can either start with a web document or import a document. If you are working on a manuscript already, you can import it. If you want to start from scratch, you can use the new web document where you can simply copy from your manuscript or your paper draft and put it in Paperpal. For the purpose of this workflow, we will be using the web document. So you click on web document and then it opens up. Then you go to the bottom of it, you see a number of features. Write with AI, brainstorm ideas, create an outline, ask a research question, chat with PDF. Now for this purpose, we'll go to brainstorm ideas. Remember, the topic I wanted us to use is COVID-19 vaccine effectiveness. So if for brainstorming purposes, you can paste your research question and then say what is the best way to frame this research question, COVID-19 vaccine effectiveness and other others during Omicron. So you run the brainstorming feature and then see Paperpal work in real time. Okay, so as you can see here, Paperpal ran through assessed our question and came up with a number of research questions that are scientifically more rigorous than the previous one. So looking at these, we would probably go with what is the effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccine booster doses in preventing severe disease among adults age 65 and older during the Omicron predominance. So we would now use this research question as the basis for our subsequent workflow steps. So we accepted the suggested research question because it clearly defines the exposure, the outcome, the population, and the context. Remember that the key point here is that Paperpal improved the wording and scope of our question. It didn't design our study or, put forward the argument for us. And step 2 is literature context and paper discovery. So once you've been able to refine your research question, now what you need to do is to find relevant literature to support your definitions, justify your framing, and anchor your claims. What we are going to do now is to use a feature in Paperpal called research. We are going to paste the refined question from the brainstorming session with it in Paperpal and watch it come up with relevant papers to help us move forward. So we are going to paste our refined research question, use the research feature, and then paste our refined research question. Then we hit submit and watch Paperpal come up with a series of documents or a series of peer-reviewed papers or publications we can use for the next step. So as you can see here, Paperpal suggested relevant papers that we can look through and see which one aligns with our research question. This is more like a literature discovery step. So what you want to do is that you can add them to your library. You can open the source for details and decide which one actually fits your research question before downloading anything into your folder. You can equally cite it during the other steps of the workflow. So for now, what you want to do in this session or at this step is to either add it to your library or click on it, open it, read it in detail, or you can just open it and then download them into a separate folder. So another important step is that you can click any of the papers and then immediately you have access to the abstract. You can read the abstract and make sure it aligns with your research question before adding it to your library or before downloading it into your folder. Your goal here is not to collect 50 or 100 papers. Your goal is to collect the right papers that justify your argument and help you write with accuracy. So once you've, gone through the literature discovery phase, the next step or step 3 is reading and synthesis. This session too, you can use a very unique feature in Paperpal called Chat PDF. So after you download your key papers, you still have to read them. I always advise that you go through the papers. Now, this is where many people waste time because they read without a plan and they forget what they read. Paperpal's Chat PDF feature helps you interrogate papers quickly, but you still need to verify every claim against the original text. So what I will do here is go to Chat PDF. As you can see here, I'll go to Chat PDF and then it gives you the option of uploading multiple files. You can upload up to 10 at once. So what I would probably do is click on Get Started and then upload a document that you can interrogate further. So for the next couple of steps, as I said, you would have to upload the papers you already downloaded and interrogate the papers further. So we are using the Chat PDF feature. So I'll say I would upload about 3 papers at a time or 2 to keep it more efficient. So I'll upload 2 or 3 papers. It will take a couple of minutes to upload them and get it ready for you to ask questions. Okay, just like that is done. So here you can ask a series of questions, right? You can ask about the population. You can ask about summarizing the key findings in these papers. So for example, you even have some suggestions here you can use. So you can, let's create summary generation and see what we get from here. Remember, this step is to help speed up the comprehension and note-taking, but I'll still verify the original wording, tables, the method section. All right, so as you can see, it's been able to provide a summary level for all the 3 papers. So this is document number 1, effectiveness of mRNA vaccine, document number 2, and document number 3. So it's been able to provide you with some level of summary for all the three papers. At this stage, what you would really want to do is to take notes, compare it with original versions. What I would do is that you copy key sessions and then you can create your own notes using the note feature. Once that is done, now you have a draft that you can work with. Now, step 4 is to build the paper framework. Now we have our draft or our rough draft from the first 3 steps we used. We are going to use another feature in Paperpal called outline to help us create a framework that will guide us in our writing process. Now, before you start generating paragraphs, build your structure. Also, a word of caution, using AI to generate an entire paper from scratch is risky, especially if you are still learning academic writing. Start with your own notes and your own understanding, then use AI to organize and polish. So we are going to use the outline feature and then move from there. Okay, now we are going to use the outline feature to help us organize our thoughts. So we click on it and then you have to select the kind of paper you're working with. Is it a research article, an essay, a thesis chapter, a book chapter, or are you working on systematic analysis or systematic review? For the purpose of this, let's pick a research article. Now remember, you've already taking some notes. So what you want to do is to put some of the notes that you've already written in the description section, and then there's your subject area is, let's say, effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccine. And then let's generate a structure that we can use. As you can see, so it's creating a very decent structure for us that we can follow. That typically like organizes it like a real research article. So you have the introduction, rationale of the study, objectives, you go to methods, then we come to results, then we go to discussion and conclusion. So we have a general outline that we can use. So typically for me, what I would do at this stage is to copy this outline into my Word document and then put as much words as possible under each section before I come back to Paperpal. So step 5 is refining the draft, and you can do this in Paperpal in 2 ways, right? You can use rewrites and language edit. So once you have a draft, you want to improve the clarity, the academic tone and flow. And Paperpal gives you 2 options for you to do that. The first option Paperpal gives you is the rewrite feature here. So this is where you can take a paragraph from your draft and adjust it to fit your needs. You can make it more academic, more concise, improve the fluency, or paraphrase when necessary. The second feature is using the grammar option or the language edit. This typically scans your writing for grammar, consistency, and readability issues. So the easy way for me is typically to import my rough draft from a Word document. So I'll typically click on import. This is what the paper I'm working on. Import it into Paperpal. It takes a couple of minutes to populate, and then you realize that you have the rough draft that we've put together following the same outline that it created. So what you want to do is that you can check the language to make sure it's consistent. You can either accept or reject. Make sure each line that it suggests, it aligns with your own tone and your own preference. You can also check for consistency for the entire document. So this one says no consistency issue found. Then, as for the language, you have to go through session by session to make sure that everything works well. Remember, you do not accept everything automatically. You are the author. Your job is to keep the meaning accurate. Okay, so now that we've refined our drafts, the next important step is to check to make sure that our citations are in order. Remember, plagiarism is often accidental. People write strong claims and forget to cite, but they paraphrase too close to the source. The safest habit is simple. When you make a claim that depends on evidence, you have to cite it. So let's say we'll select this particular sentence here. Let's select. Once you highlight it, you have a number of features pop up here. What we want to use is the cite feature. So you click on Cite, and then Paperpal, access more than 250 million sources of database and then come up with the most useful references that you can use. Remember, Paperpal is suggesting relevant citations. You still have to verify the paper that is real, relevant, and actually supports the claim before inserting it. So as you can see, it's suggested a number of papers that defends the claim that we've made in this statement. So what you want to do is to verify it, go to read the abstract, at least if you can. Use the chat PDF feature to get more information. You can add it to your library or you can cite it within your document. So what we want to do, as I said, is to cite this particular document, and immediately once you verify it and you cite, then you have the in-text citation here. So now your work is almost complete, right? You've gone through all the stages: brainstorming, discovering literature, creating a draft, refining your draft. The next step is what I call quality control. For most graduate papers, a plagiarism check is the minimum. For journal manuscript, a submission check can add another layer. So in Paperpal, you have a number of options. There's a plagiarism checker here. There's also plagiarism here. So what we want to do is to click on plagiarism checker. Then you have this feature where you can upload a document with up to 10,000 words, or you have 10,000 words to check for plagiarism in a month. So this may cover most essays and research papers. What it does is that it scans against published and online sources, review the report and focus areas. If something is flagged, you address it right away. You either paraphrase more carefully or you add the appropriate citation. So let's upload our document that we are working with. Once you upload it, it takes a couple of minutes to check, run through your entire document, make sure it's consistent, and comes back with a similarity score. So as you can see, this is a report that we have. We have an overall similarity score of 6%. So you can go through the detailed breakdown of this, and it will even suggest ways to minimize the score, reduce the score by way of citation or by way of paraphrasing some of your document or sentence. Remember, if you're also writing for a journal submission, what you would want to do is to utilize the submission checker, right? So you go to submission check, upload your manuscript, and then it comes back with a detailed report of what you need to do, the steps you need to take in order to make sure your document is ready for submission. Remember that many journals and increasingly some universities require disclosures of AI-assisted writing. Responsible use means you retain authorship, you verify accuracy, and you disclose language editing assistance when required. So one clean way of ensuring that you have an AI disclosure statement is to go to Paperpal, go to templates, as you can see on the right side here. Click on templates, and then you have a number of options. You have outlines, AI disclosure, brainstorming, email the journal. So what we want is a new feature called AI disclosure. Once we click on the AI disclosure, we have two options. If you're a student, this is what you use. If you're submitting it to a journal, this is what you use. So you insert it, and then you have this disclosure statement that states the tool that was used, Paperpal, what it was used for, stating that the authors reviewed every single thing that they did with the AI tool before submission. So this is an easy way of also using Paperpal to generate a disclosure statement. So as you can see, Paperpal is one of those AI writing assistant tools that can take you from brainstorming all the way to generating a disclosure statement or even writing a letter to the journal. Remember that AI will not make you a strong scholar. It will not fix weak reasoning. it will not rescue a poorly structured argument. But if you use it responsibly, it can improve clarity, reduce friction, and help you submit writing that looks professional and reads well. If you want to try Paperpal, you can create an account for free, and I have also included a link in the description below if you want to save on the premium plan. Until next time, take care.